I plunged the syringe into my sister's neck not out of hatred, but because she'd stolen my face, my voice, and the last 30 years of my life, twice over. The boy across the bed, all gangly limbs and tear-streaked cheeks, grabbed my arm and whispered, "Grandma, don't let her take you away too," his words slicing deeper than any blade, because in this stolen skin, I was his grandma now. And as Evelyn's eyes bulged in that final, gurgling betrayal, I realized the real revenge wasn't killing her, it was raising her bastard empire from the grave she'd dug for us all. It started in a haze of fluorescent lights and the sterile tang of bleach that clings to every corner of an American hospital like regret you can't wash off. I remember blinking awake, my eyelids heavy as if they'd been glued shut with crazy glue, and the first thing that hit me wasn't pain, it was wrongness. My hands, Jesus. My hands were smooth, unscarred. The kind of pale that comes from too many hours under desk lamps and not enough sun on a Jersey Shore boardwalk. These weren't the calloused paws I'd earned scrubbing pots in my ex's diner after he skipped out with the waitress, or the ones that had gripped a steering wheel through 12-hour hauls on I-95. No. These were the hands of someone young, someone who'd never known the grind. I tried to sit up, but tubes snaked into my arms like 4 lines of fire, and a monitor beeped a frantic Morse code that screamed stranger in your own skin. "What the fuck?" I rasped, but the voice that came out was high, lilting, like a valley girl who'd traded Pilates for Prozac. Panic clawed at my throat. I wasn't Iris anymore. Not the 48-year-old Iris who'd blacked out after that routine checkup at the clinic downtown. The one my sister Evelyn had insisted on because family looks out for family. Right? IR. No. This was her voice? Wait. No. Softer. Younger. The door swung open, and in walked a nurse with a clipboard and a smile that didn't reach her eyes. The kind you see on those underpaid night shifts in Philly ERs. "Alara? Oh. Thank God you're awake. Your vitals are stabilizing. Do you know where you are?" Alara. The name slithered through my brain like a bad dream I couldn't shake. I stared at her, my Alara's lips parting in a gasp. "Alara who? Where's my sister?" "Evelyn. Tell her to get in here." The nurse's brow furrowed, that professional pity kicking in like a reflex. "Alara. Honey, you're in Mercy General. You've been out for 3 days after the procedure. Your Aunt Evelyn's been handling everything. She's in the hall, I'll get her." Procedure. The word landed like a gut punch. Flashes hit me then. Evelyn's sleek office in that glass tower overlooking the Schuylkill. Her manicured nails tapping a contract I'd signed half-blind from exhaustion. "It's just a neural mapping trial. Iris. Cutting-edge stuff for dementia research. You'll help so many people." I trusted her, because that's what sisters do. Right? Even when she'd clawed her way to CEO of Neuralink while I scraped by on temp gigs and alimony checks that bounced like bad jokes. But this wasn't dementia. This was something out of a Black Mirror episode. The kind that keeps you up chain-smoking camels on your fire escape. As the nurse hustled out, I ripped at the 4, ignoring the sting, and swung my legs off the bed. The mirror across the room caught me like a thief in the night, wide green eyes, chestnut hair falling in waves I hadn't seen since my 20s. A face that screamed trust fund sorority girl, not South Philly survivor. Alara. My niece. Evelyn's daughter. The one who'd run off to California 10 years back. The family black sheep we'd all whispered about at Thanksgiving over Stouffer's green bean casserole. I was in Alara's body. Evelyn had swapped us. Body snatched me like I was yesterday's trash. All to cover her ass in some corporate clusterfuck I'd taken the fall for a decade ago, cooking the books at Neuralink, falsifying trial data on that brain chip scam that fried half a dozen volunteers' synapses. I'd confessed to it all, per her advice, because she promised it'd keep the feds off her trail and give me a payout to start over. Instead, she'd vanished me into witness protection hell, then pulled this Frankenstein shit to erase the last loose end me. The door burst open again, and there she was, Evelyn, in my body, graying at the temples, crow's feet deepening like fault lines, but still striding in those sensible Clarks I'd bought at Kohl's on clearance. She froze, my eyes widening in a mirror of my own horror. Iris?
Oh, God.
It worked. The transfer. It's stable. You bitch, I hissed, launching myself at her. We crashed into the crash cart, vials scattering like brittle bones. But she was stronger in my old frame, pinning me down with arms that knew every ache from years of manual labor. What did you do? Why, Alara? She's your daughter. Evelyn's laugh was gravelly, laced with that mainline accent she'd never shaken. Alara's a ghost. Iris. Dropped off the map years ago. And you? You were always the spare part. This body, yours, it's got mileage. But it's clean. No priors. No questions. The SEC's sniffing too close after the leaks. And I need to walk away spotless. You took the rap once. Now you'll take the rest. I bucked against her. Nails, Alara's French tips, raking down her cheek, drawing thin lines of red that welled like accusations. You murdered her for this? Swapped us like fucking lab rats. Not murdered. Upgraded. She straightened, wiping blood with the back of my hand, casual as flicking ash from a Marlboro. The tech's real. Iris. Neural overwrite, your mind in her shell. Hers.
Archived.
She won't feel a thing. And the boy? Her kid, your grandkid.
Technically.
He's collateral. Foster systems got him now. Grandkid. The word detonated in my skull. Alara had a son? All those years of radio silence. The rumors of her crashing from party girl to burnout in LA. And she'd been hiding this? Evelyn saw the crack in my armor. Leaned in close. Breath hot with stale coffee. Task for you, little sis. Play house in that pretty new skin. Raise the brat if you want, but stay quiet. Or I'll make sure the world knows Alara was the junkie who OD'd on fentanyl-laced oxy. Your new life's a house of cards. She left me there, trembling on the linoleum, the monitors wailing like sirens in a chase scene from some gritty Scorsese flick. But as the sedative haze pulled me under again, one truth burned clear. Evelyn had buried secrets deeper than Philly mob graves. And I'd just unearthed the biggest, a 12-year-old boy with my blood. My fight. Revenge wasn't a choice anymore. It was inheritance. Waking up the second time was worse. Like surfacing from a nightmare only to find the monsters wearing your pajamas. The hospital had discharged Alara with a psych eval waiver. Evelyn's doing? No doubt. Her signature on the forms in my looping scroll, and now I was rattling around a cramped studio in Fishtown. The kind of place where the walls sweat condensation and the neighbors blast drill rap at 3 a.m. Alara's life smelled like patchouli and regret, half-empty bottles of $2 chuck, takeout containers from Federal Donuts crusted with grease, and a stack of unpaid bills that could wallpaper a confessional. I rifled through the mess, piecing together the ghost I'd become. Driver's license, Alara Voss. 28. Expired. Social security stubs from gig work. Uber Eats runs through SEPTA delays. DoorDash drops in Kensington's Needle Parks. And there, tucked under a dog-eared copy of the Bell Jar, a faded ultrasound printout dated 12 years back, scribbled with "Our little man, don't let Dad find out."
Dad.
Evelyn's ex. That Wall Street shark who'd bailed when the prenup ink dried, leaving her to climb the corporate ladder on stilettos and spite. But the kicker? A crumpled envelope postmarked from Cedars-Sinai,
L.A.
3 weeks old. Inside, a letter in Alara's looping script, addressed to Mom or whoever's left. "If you're reading this, I'm gone. Cancer's a bitch, stage 4. Lungs like Swiss cheese from all those cigs I swore off. The swap, your gift to fix me, but it fried the last of me. Iris, tell her I forgive the hiding, the lies."
But the boy? Tommy.
He's 12. Smart as hell. Hates math but loves comics. His Aunt Evelyn's been sniffing around, wants custody for the optics, grandkid of the Neuralink queen. Don't let her. Task: raise him. Teach him to fight dirty, like you did for me once.
Love.
Your screw-up daughter.
P.S.
The safe deposit box in reading terminal, keys under the sink. It's got proof. Burn it all if you have to, but bury her first. Tears, Alara's tears, hot and foreign, tracked down my cheeks as I clutched that paper like a lifeline. Tommy. My grandson. The secret Alara had buried deeper than Evelyn's boardroom bullshit. She'd run because her mother had pimped her out as bait in some merger play, marry the rival exec-son, secure the shares, then scrap the plan when Alara got knocked up. Abandoned. Shipped off with hush money and a non-disclosure that gagged tighter than a Philly cheesesteak wrapper. And me? I'd taken the fall for the data fraud to keep the family legacy intact, rotting in a halfway house while Evelyn toasted at galas with crystal flutes of view of Clickwatt. Enough. I grabbed the key, a rusted schlag taped to a roach trap under the sink, and hit the streets, the autumn chill biting through Alara's threadbare north face like Judgment Day. Reading terminal market buzzed with the usual chaos, tourists snapping pics of roast pork sandwiches, vendors hawking Amish pretzels, the air thick with sauerkraut and desperation. The safe deposit box yielded a USB drive, grainy photos of fried brains from the early trials, emails chaining Evelyn to the cover-up, and a birth certificate. Tommy Voss. Born in a no-frills clinic in Van Nuys. Father listed as unknown. But I knew. It was her ex's, Victor Hale, now a senator's wet dream, lobbying for big pharma loopholes from a K Street suite. My phone, Alara's cracked iPhone, pinged with a text from an unknown. Foster pickup tomorrow.
Tommy's yours if you sign.
CPS Philly. Heart hammering like a jackhammer on Broad Street, I bolted to the address attached, a group home in North Philly. Chain-link fences rattling in the wind off the L tracks. Tommy was there, slouched on a sagging couch amid a gaggle of foster kids playing Fortnite on a laggy TV. His dark curls flopping over eyes the exact shade of my mother's, stormy gray, full of unspoken thunder. "Kid," I said, voice cracking like gravel under tires. He looked up, wary as a stray cat, clutching a Spider-Man backpack like armor.
I'm
Alara. Your mom. He bolted upright, face crumpling. Liar. Mom said you'd come, but you're too late.
She's dead.
And Aunt Ev, she said you'd forget me too. The social worker, a harried Latina in scrubs, shuffled papers. Sign here.
Is. Voss.
Provisional custody, Court date next month. Kids got issues. Night terrors. Acts out in school. You sure? I signed, forging ahead like I'd forged checks in '09 to keep the lights on. Tommy trailed me to the SEPTA bus, silent as we rumbled back to Fishtown, the city lights smearing like oil on water. That night, over lukewarm pizza from Lorenzo's, he cracked open. Mom said you were sick. Like, brain sick. That's why the doctors took her away. He poked at a pepperoni,
Eyes down.
She left me this. A locket. Cheap gold plate. Engraved fight or fold.
Inside.
A tiny photo. Alara. Beaming at a beach bonfire. Arm around a toddler Tommy. We fight, I whispered, the words tasting like ash and adrenaline. But Evelyn was already circling. A call came at dawn. Her voice, in my old timbre, smooth as oiled leather. Playing mommy now. Alara?
Cute.
But Tommy's got Hale blood, valuable. Sign him over. Or the feds get the full story on your relapse. Junkie mom unfit. Kid in the system. Poetic. Ain't it? I hung up, fists clenched till knuckles whitened. The USB burned a hole in my pocket. Controversial? Hell. I'd dox her ass on X if it meant dragging that empire down. Leaks to whistleblower sites. Anonymous tips to 6 ABC Action News. But Tommy stirred in the next room, mumbling in his sleep. And I knew revenge wasn't solo anymore. It was a legacy, dark and tangled as the Schuylkill at flood stage. Evelyn had power, Senate donors, private jets to Davos, but I had truth. And a kid who'd teach me to wield it like a shank. Days blurred into a tense rhythm, mornings shuttling Tommy to Masterman for those gifted classes he aced but hated, afternoons scraping by on Alara's ghost gigs while decoding the drive's files on a library computer in the free library's musty stacks. Evelyn's empire? Neuralink wasn't just chips, it was a hydra, trials on the down low in underfunded clinics, swapping minds of the desperate for the elite's immortality play. She tested it on Alara first, curing her depression with an overwrite that left her hollow, then dumped her when the glitches showed. Tommy sensed the storm brewing. Who's the bad guy? Alara, he'd ask over bowls of Cheerios. His comics splayed like battle maps. I'd spin half-truths, corporate wolves, family traitors, while plotting my moves. First controversial call, I hacked her calendar via a phishing email sent from a burner app, posing as her assistant. Saw the meeting, Victor Hale, drinks at the Union League, hashing custody terms. I'd crash it, not with fists, but facts USB in hand, ready to flip the table. But twists wait for no one. That night, as rain lashed the windows like accusations, Tommy woke screaming from a nightmare. They're coming for my brain. I held him, rocking like I'd rocked his mom once upon a lullaby, and vowed silent, no more hiding. The empire crumbles tomorrow. The Union League Club loomed like a Gilded Age tomb on Broad Street, gas lamps flickering against marble facades that whispered old money sins. I slipped in through the service entrance, Alara's face a ghost pass in a city where the help's invisible, black dress pilfered from a thrift bin on South Street, heels that pinched like pennants. Tommy was stashed with a neighbor, a chain-smoking widow from the parish who asked no questions for a 20 and a prayer. Be careful, girl, she'd muttered, crossing herself. Devil's in the details up there. Evelyn held court in the oak-paneled lounge, my old body slouched in a leather wingback, swirling scotch neat while Victor Hale, silver fox with a Rolex gleam and eyes like contract clauses, leaned in, cigar smoke curling like nooses. The boys leverage.
Ev.
Hail-Voss merger? It sings. Sign him over. We bury the scandals together. I stepped from the shadows. USB dangling from a chain like a crucifix. Sing this. Vic. Evelyn's not burying shit. She's digging graves. Heads turned. Murmurs rippling like pond scum. Evelyn's face, mine, twisted in fury. Security. This junkie's crashing. But Victor waved them off. Curiosity peaked like a shark scenting chum. Voss? Alara Voss? The runaway. His gaze raked me, lingering on Alara's curves with the entitlement of men who'd bought forgiveness with alimony. Grandson-stealing bitch is more like it. I spat, slamming the drive onto the mahogany bar. Plug it in. See how your leverage fries brains for stock bumps. Alara knew, told me everything before your overwrite turned her to ash. The room froze, crystal tinkling to silence. Victor's bluff cracked. He snatched the drive, jacking it into his tablet with trembling fingers. Files bloomed. Autopsy scans of trial victims. Evelyn's emails greenlighting the swaps. Cost-effective disposal. Mines to the cloud. Bodies to auction. Gasps from the blue bloods nursing their Manhattans. Phones slipping out for discreet snaps. Evelyn lunged, but I sidestepped, grabbing a letter opener from the bar, ornate. Silver. Sharp as betrayal. You stole my life, sis. Framed me for your fraud. Then played God with your own kid. Tommy's not property. He's mine. Victor barked a laugh. Dark and oily.
Bold. Girl.
But Hale Blood's blue chip. Drop it. Or the kid joins the family business. First swap on the menu. Controversy hung thick as the cigar haze. Was I the hero, crashing the lion's den with a 12-year-old's future at stake? Or the villain, dragging skeletons into a room of skeletons, risking Tommy's safety for a vendetta that could orphan him twice? I hesitated, the opener hovering, heart thundering like the L overhead. Evelyn sneered. Do it, Iris. Kill me in front of witnesses. Enjoy Supermax in that pretty shell. The twist hit like a septed derailment. Victor's tablet chimed not files, but a video. Alara's face filled the screen. Gaunt from chemo. Voice a rasp over beeps. If you're seeing this, Mom, Evelyn, it's over. I didn't die clean. The cancer? Your chip trials accelerated it. Glitches metastasizing cells like code. But Iris. The swap wasn't total. I held on in the ether. Uploaded a fragment. This drive? It's me. Triggering now. The tablet sparked. Then blared. Sirens wailing. Headlines scrolling. Neuralink CEO exposed. Fatal flaws in MindSwap tech. Leaks flooding live to Reuters. X exploding with Evelyn swap scandal. Victor's empire teetered. Donors dialing out. Evelyn's board fracturing via frantic texts. But the real gut punch? Alara's voice. Soft. Task complete. Iris. Raise him fierce. Forgive me for the hiding. I was scared of becoming her. Love you both. Even the monster. Evelyn crumpled. My old knees buckling as sobs racked her me. Frame. Alara? Baby. No. For a heartbeat. I saw the sister I'd idolized. The girl who'd shared Eskimo pies on humid stoops. Dreaming of escaping our dead-end row house. Betrayal's root wasn't power. It was fear, hers. Of losing the throne she'd killed for. I dropped the opener. The clang echoing like a gavel. Security swarmed. Cuffs clicking on Evelyn's wrists, my wrists, as feds burst in.
Tipped by the auto leak.
Victor slithered out a side door. But not before I clocked him with a glance. Tell your donors. Hail blood runs dirty. Tommy waited at dawn on the stoop. Comics underarm. Eyes searching mine as I pulled up in Alara's rust bucket Civic. Did you win? Grandma. I ruffled his curls, the word grandma fitting like a glove I'd outgrown but couldn't shed. We did.
Kid.
But winning's messy. Your mom's watching, says fight smart next time. We drove west toward the shore. Waves crashing like applause under a bruised sky. Evelyn? Life without parole in a federal hole. Her empire ashes. But whispers of a plea deal, trading swaps for immunity. Controversial as hell. Victor? Under investigation. His K-Street shine tarnished. Me? Iris in Alara's skin. Raising a boy who'd question everything. From family to fate. A happy ending? In America. It's always debatable. Revenge heals or hollows. Truths free or fracture. But as Tommy sketched superheroes in the sand, locket glinting, I knew the task wasn't destruction. It was rebirth. And in this body, this life, I'd fight to the last breath.